What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys have seen the previous video, we moved the wagon onto the driveway, the H2B CRX behind that, and the KRX onto the grass. I mentioned that we were waiting for parts to show up, so I figured let's just move some of the cars that need work onto the driveway so we can make some progress in the meantime, even though the exhaust stuff showed up today, right there. I will say we're not going to be working on the exhaust for the EF sedan today because I need to take some of this stuff here to the homie Kel's house so we can cut some pies, because I bought mainly straights and a lot of the bends that they had were actually out of stock, if not expensive, and the homie Kel offered to cut some pies for me to ensure we have some bends to aim the exhaust where we need it to go. So maybe tomorrow or the next day or so we'll get going with the exhaust system for the EF sedan. But in today's video, just to stay making progress, because we can't cut material until later tonight, today we're going to be working on the wagon, and I'm going to be taking out the stock header that we installed to get the car into the driveway and start mocking up the new turbo kit that's currently sitting on this long block right here. Now, working on the wagon today, I'm not in a rush to try to do everything into one video like I normally do. This time, I'm just going to do what I can with what I have. So, first things first, guys, let's go ahead and get the car jacked up, drain the cooling system, and pop the stock header off the car. Today is so freaking hot that the GoPro gets hot really fast. But hopefully we don't need a time lapse too much to have the GoPro sit here and burn. I'm an idiot. I put the GoPro on the jack handle and I need the jack. I'm sorry if it's dark. The wagon is on the sun side as well, so it's pretty hot on the driver's side. Okay, you guys, hear me out. The wagon has been sitting on the grass for quite some time, and every time it's on the grass, which is why I don't want to park my car on the grass, comes a lot of spiders, a lot of different spiders, and the one I'm more concerned about are the browns and the black widows. And before I crawl underneath the car, because I did it recklessly when I put the header in the first time, I'm gonna clean it out. Brake cleaner and the lighter, baby. Let's go. Woo! Burn, baby. Oh, there goes one. Oof. Oof. Daddy long legs have a pass. I don't like messing with them, but everybody else, y'all gots to go. Grab this. We got this one, and we got that one. Evicted. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain out the cooling system, because like I said, there's gonna be some modifications to the heater hoses in order to work with the new turbo manifold. So I'm gonna drain it out, and then I'll pop the top half of the header out of the car right there. I am using a full-size Skunk 2 radiator that was originally for B series. And for some reason there's no drain on here, so I got to take off the hose. Oh, was not supposed to do that, dang it. Made the mess I did not want to make. All right, so what I need to do right now is I need to remove both my heater hoses right here from the engine to the firewall, because both of these are going to be in the way of the new log top mount manifold, this one especially. So let me show you guys real quick in case you guys didn't see it in the previous videos. This is the manifold we are rocking. Shout out to JUSTIG. And we're going to be using this log top mount with the Garrett 3076. So right here at the back, you can obviously see that the port for the heater hose is in the way with the manifold, right? So there's a couple of different ways that people are making the heater hose stuff work, which is to tie a T into the hose that's coming from the water pump housing, which is right here. This one right here, you tee it off because this is literally in line with the port here, right? So you can rob coolant from there and route it to the heater core. As far as this one goes, I think people are just unbolting it and moving it downward to clear the waste gate. I'm pretty sure it was this car. I shortened down this pipe right here and I moved the mounting point and the outlet further this way so I can get a longer heater hose to connect here and route the flexible end underneath the wastegate to go to the heater core. So that's what we're gonna do right now. I do have my drip pan down low in case coolant comes out of here. Don't want to make a mess. There you go. So the distance between the cylinder head to the turbo manifold is about 1.5 inches. The pipe thread here, the threads on this fitting goes entirely into the head. So after the threads, I have about 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to do here is I'm probably going to cut maybe 1/4 inch above the thread, and then I'm going to cut maybe 1/4 inch under the hex here, right? And then I'm gonna cut the top of it flat so I can cap it off, and then weld this hex to the bottom thread section of this tube. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. All right, there it is. These two do not need. And then this is the thread. I'm gonna cap this top, weld these two together, and that is my plug. So here's the cap that I'm going to weld up completely, and then I'm going to attach the threaded body to the hex head. Yeah, DIY at its finest. Look at that. Weld it top, side, grind it flat, and all I need is some RTV, and this can go back on. Now, if you buy the delete plug, it's a flush mount and it uses a crush washer. But because this is factory, and honestly it didn't even have RTV on it beforehand, but I'm gonna put RTV on it and this should just plug up. So go ahead and just grab that real quick. You don't want to over tighten it because you don't want to crack the threads on the cylinder head. So we have the turbo manifold and the turbo itself mocked up on the old long block, right? And I put the valve cover on just to kind of take some photos and stuff, right? But the valve cover itself is actually shifted forward since there is no rocker assembly inside, and it is shifted like maybe a millimeter or so. So the valve cover itself is not actually sitting centered on the cylinder head, because I'm running a 109 back housing, which is resting on the valve cover and it's pushing it forward. So before I put it into the car, I have to shave this down to clear the valve cover, and also enough to put a turbo blanket on, because that right there, there's not enough room for a turbo blanket. So somebody had left a comment about the 109 being a little too big for, you know, the 3076, but there's a reason why I have a 109 on it. Originally it was a 63, which I took it off because it had a 2.5 outlet, and then it was spooling too fast. So then I did an 83 or 82, and it was still spooling too fast when it was on the wagon, and then I upgraded to the 109 to push the spool further, although it still spools pretty quickly. In fifth gear, when I'm chilling, like doing 80 miles an hour, the turbo is literally spooling up, and just any other gears before that, it literally spools up quickly. So I have the 109 on it to push it back, which it helped a lot, but still spools early because it's a 3076. But I'm gonna leave the 109 on it, and hopefully the spool isn't too crazy with a log manifold. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these bolts off, take this turbo out, shave it down a couple of times to ensure it fits the valve cover, and then we're gonna put the manifold into the car. The reason why I wanted to block that off right now, the heater port, is because I want to entirely secure the manifold onto the head and not have to pull it back off for whatever reason. The plug is already on, it should just permanently be in there first time around. So I have the turbo shaved on the exhaust housing, and I have the turbo pushed all the way back on the flange and secured. Well, not that bolt, but this one right here is secured, and the valve cover is all the way back. I'm gonna show you guys if I push it forward, right? You can see that the gap opens right there. So now we're all the way back, and we have clearance between the valve cover and the turbo. So before I actually put this in the car, I forgot to pop off the other heater hose, because that one looks like it'll be in the way as well. You can tell by the reference of this bolt right here in the pipe. To this bolt, and where the pipe would be, it's gonna hit right on the flange. If you guys want your manifold to burn really nicely, make sure you handle it with clean hands or gloves on, so you don't get grease and oil onto the material. If you do and you don't clean it off, when this manifold heats up, you're gonna have some weird coloring. Look how nice and tucked this manifold is to the engine. A lot of space for activity. I believe they did fit a 35R frame turbo in here, 62mm. I don't know how big of a rear mount you can put on this manifold in an EF chassis. The other chassis, no problem fitting a bigger turbo, but this manifold has been proven to make 600, and I don't know, they don't know if it could hold more power, even though it does have wastegate priority. But I think a 35R frame turbo is perfect for this manifold. Anything bigger than that, probably overkill. And then you would probably better off run a tubular style manifold. So before I even put the wastegate in place, I need to figure out what I'm going to do about this pipe right here. So I pulled the intake manifold off just to make it easier to work around the cooling system and figure out how I'm gonna route the heater hoses to the heater core. So obviously I got this one taken off. I need to pop it out of here in order to modify it. And I think what I'm gonna end up doing with this is, I didn't realize that this has been squeezed right there, right? I'm thinking about where it becomes round right here. I'm gonna lob it off and then bead roll it right here, and then just stick a hose for the heater, one of these guys right here, right there, and then worm clamp it, and then route it obviously underneath the wastegate and then going over there. As far as the one that goes to the back right here where we blocked off, like I said, it is straight through to this port, and I could technically tee it off here, right? Put a T here and then run a hose in line with this one to go back there as well too. Or I really don't want to tee it off in the back. I want it to be more accessible in the front. So I might try to figure out if I have something in aluminum that I could probably weld off of here and then run a heater hose from here straight across, because like I said, it's all tied in together on this top section, right? So let me brainstorm a little bit and find a solution. So the water pipe right here, I cut the front off right there. This is the piece that came off of it, and man, I didn't realize how much this thing was squished. Don't know when I did it, don't know if I did it, but yeah, we're not gonna be needing that piece anymore. So I'm actually gonna be using the cutoff from the water tube right here for the top cylinder head, and I'm gonna weld it onto the end that I cut off this giant tube from. This right here is actually larger, and it's hard to find a heater hose that goes from like a 5/8 to whatever this bigger size is. So I'm going to step it down to about the size of obviously the top water hose, just so that it's easier to find a hose that has both ends the same. So you can see how this is all stretched right there, right? It's stretched because that water tube was bigger than the one on the bottom. So hopefully it'll be easier when I find the hose for the new setup here. I've already marked it all out, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it all nice and tigged up, and we can get this water tube back into the car. Currently have all the lights turned off because the bugs are crazy right now. So hopefully you guys can see here. I have the water pipe back on, secured 12 mil right there, and the top hose, actually the original hose actually fits. All I had to do was loosen it up over there on the heater core box, and then I turned that 90 to give me a little bit more length, and I actually cut off like 3/4 from this end, that part that was bulged because it was a bigger tube, and it actually fits. I was planning originally to go under the wastegate, but it looks like it'll work perfectly fine on top of the wastegate. I'm gonna find a way to put some brackets here to hold the heater hose away from the wastegate, but then again, the wastegate only gets hot when it's like, you know, dumping boost. But I do have heater wrap on here, the same that I used on this car and Project Blueberry and Isize Element. So that's gonna help a little bit with containing some heat. And I haven't really figured out what I'm gonna do about the bottom hose yet, because I don't have any material if I wanted to tee it off here. I don't have any material if I wanted to add a barb somewhere here. And I'm gonna have to figure that out when I get a chance to. But as far as right now goes, I think I wanna pop the turbo on here and just plumb whatever I can. I know I don't have any fittings for return lines, so I got to place order for that, and just trying to make some further progress. Oh, I got to find hardware too, because I only have 2. Oh, and also before the turbo, let's get the wastegate on there. I'm going to be using a towel wastegate, which is my original wastegate from my EF sedan back in the days. I literally have an unboxing video of this gate. So I'm going to be using this gate, which has, I believe it was like a 7 or 8 pound spring in it. Probably most likely going to run a controller on it, because I don't want to change the spring out. Run a controller on it just so we can get the wagon up to, I keep looking over there, but get the wagon up to my power goals that I want to make with it. So take off this towel 44 and slap it on. Don't forget your firing ring right here, which is also called a valve seat. Probably gonna leave it loose because I don't know if I'm gonna point the dump tube down in between the motor mount, or if I just wanna point it towards the firewall and then do a 90 to go over the motor mount. But let's just get it on for now. Now that I'm looking at this from the top, I didn't actually account for the return line sitting somewhere right here where the heater hose is currently sitting. If need to be, I can always just go get another hose and just loop it down underneath the wastegate like intended the first time. But well, we'll figure all of that out as we go. Okay, well, it looks like with the banjos of the wastegate pointing to the top, the turbo sits directly on top of it, and I cannot bolt it down at all. Let me see if I can clock the compressor and get a better room out of it. Sorry for the low lighting, guys. My Harbor Freight flashlights are dying. Two bolts for now. The heater hose does actually clear the turbo, and we have space for the return line, but it's sitting on top of the wastegate and it's too close for my likings. Definitely gonna have to change that. I want to give you guys a better look down here. So the dump tube, I guess, is just gonna be based off where my heater hoses are going to go, to know if I can go over the motor mount or if I can somehow still snake it down that way with it positioned like this, which is still good because you can see the banjos for the wastegate vacuum are still pointed up and still easily accessible right here. So I guess this kind of works out in a sense, but definitely going to change the routing on the heater hose. Actually, at this point, I don't even mind that if it's longer, like literally coming from there all the way this way, which nothing is going to be here, so I can just go around the wastegate and then go back up over here. So I don't know, we'll figure something out. But overall, we have clearance between turbo and valve cover, so I can probably squeeze a turbo blanket in there, and we have the manifold mocked up with wastegate and turbo in place to kind of give me a better look of how everything is fitting. I'm actually pretty happy about it. Over here, what kind of space do we have for a downpipe? Oh, plenty of space like that. Probably S-shape it down that way, and then go into the current existing exhaust. So I'm happy. I'm pretty happy. So I think this is as far as we're gonna get tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wrap this car back up, and we actually got a couple of packages to open with you guys, so we'll get to that in just a second. All right, so first package right here came from Daniel, and he's actually local, like 35 minutes local. So let's see what's inside. I lost my razor blade and I'm kind of sad about it, so I gotta use this, but you guys already know what it is. Cut away from yourself, not toward yourself. First things first, we have a letter. Oh, damn. It says, "Hi Dane, I love your videos. Thanks for saving the EFs. I have a 91 CRX SI wide body and you are motivating me to get it back on the road again. I got this Hero a while ago as a prize for something, but I never really used it. Not sure if you could use it, but I thought I would send it to you because I don't like throwing it away. Anyways, keep up the good work. Daniel Ford." Yo, this is your whip? Okay, let me show you guys this real quick. Can you guys see this? Wide body 91 CRX, J front headlight and hood, but USDM front bumper with, like, I believe it's like an add-on front lip. Looks to be turbo. Dude, this is sick. Well built car from what I can see, man. Looks fire. All the fitment on everything, fire. He said here, oh my freaking goodness. That's what all the noise was. So Daniel hooked it up with a Hero 3. I have a Hero 3, but I destroyed it. It fell off the car back in the days. Hero 3 Plus, shout out. Looks freaking mint. Freaking awesome. And then we have a bunch of accessories that kind of spilled out into the box here. Damn, dude. Car chargers, suction cups, the angle adapters. We have the protective case, more chargers. We have, I know what this is right here. This is the charger for the remote, which I actually have one too for my Hero 5. I have a remote as well too. So dude, this thing looks like it hasn't moved in a while because it's like super dusty, but I'm sure it still works 100%. What else do we have in here? The case. Oh, we have a freaking suction cup for the car. I actually have the same one. It's in the glove box in the EF sedan, but yo, shout out Daniel, man. I appreciate you. We got the little case right here as well too. Definitely will add this to the collection. All these GoPros you guys are sending me, and definitely going to be using it more so for like POVs, for a helmet, you know, inside a car, mouthpiece. Like all of this is going to be used for the in-car stuff. And then obviously I have my Hero 9 that's been kind of beaten up vlogging around here in the garage. So we'll definitely put this to use. I appreciate you, Daniel, man. Thank you so much for this. Hopefully you get this on the road again. And because based off where the box came from, you are local, and we do have a lot of like NorCal CRX owners meets around here in the Bay Area. Hopefully you get it up and going, and maybe we can check it out one of these days. And then we have this package right here, which also came from a Daniel, and he's out of SD. I actually kind of know what's in here because he does join the live stream on Instagram often. And just this past weekend, he was like, hey, did you receive it? I'm like, what did I receive? And, you know, I kind of went through the box, and he was like, yep, that's the one. So he kind of told me what's in here, and I'm actually pretty happy about this because I talked about wanting to find these, but there hasn't been any sedan in our yard, so I haven't really looked for them. But shout out to Daniel for sending these over. So let's go ahead and open this up. Kind of threw me off because the size of what this is in this little box, and I was just like, what? And on top of that, fragile. So anyways, let's go ahead and open this up. Cut away from yourself. I'm sure you guys know the rest. Oh, this is actually a letter. I didn't realize I cut right through it. Yo, Static, what's good? Been following your channel since 2014-ish. I recently did an EF2 front on my sedan, and the route I'm going don't really need these fender linings. These are fender linings. If you guys remember in the battery relocation video, we put the battery at the front passenger bumper, and I don't have any fender linings. So we were kind of talking about like, oh, what if you drove it in the rain? Water's going to splash all of the batteries and all the power cables and stuff. And I was like, well, I originally wanted to do fender linings, right? Because my car's not low enough to where I'm like worried about tire hitting the fender lining, and I wanted to put it back in since my car didn't come with any. So because I haven't been able to find any, shout out to Daniel for sending over a pair of them. So we have fender linings for EF sedan, and everything looks to be intact as far as these holes for the clip goes, so thank you for that. And attached to the fender lining, we have a bunch of washers for oil pan, so thank you for that. I don't know if it was you or somebody else who sent me a bag as well too, but I've already used like 2 of them, so this is definitely going to last me a lifetime. And we have the other fender lining right here. Awesome. Going to give this a nice good wash and pressure wash, and then we'll probably install this into the sedan when everything settles down, because we have a lot of other priority things we need to take care of first. So shout out to Daniel and Daniel for sending out these packages. I truly do appreciate you guys, and anybody who sends anything to the PO box. I appreciate y'all more than you know, and definitely will put everything to good use. So anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the progress update on the EF wagon, mocking up the JUSTIG log rear top mount manifold with the Garrett GT3076. If you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for the EF sedan oval tubing fabrication, which hopefully is tomorrow-ish for me, next video for you guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.